Hey everyone, this is Lorenzo from Hacking Your Leadership, and welcome to another Thoughtful Thursday episode. Thank you for your continued support, and please, if you're listening to the show right now, take a second and subscribe to the podcast. This helps us greatly and gets the latest episodes to you the minute they release. Follow us on Instagram at Hacking Your Leadership and give us a rating and review on your favorite listening platform. On this episode, I want to talk about owning failures. Specifically, when you are a leader of people, I want to talk about owning your team's failures. I was having a conversation with a leader the other day about taking the responsibility of failure away from her team when they are not meeting expectations. We got into a great bit of dialogue around how easy it is to talk to top performers about getting better and asking them for more, but how it was significantly more difficult for her to get her lower performers to improve quickly and consistently. My advice was to start her conversation with them by owning their failure. Apologize for her lack of supporting them the way in which they needed support, because it was clear that their results were below expectations, and it must be because she was not properly supporting them as their leader. Then ask them what she can do to help them increase their results and no longer have unacceptable performance. Later that same week, I saw an Inc. article by Kirsten Blakemore Edwards. In the article, Kirsten wrote, "We learn and innovate when we make mistakes, but only if there's a foundation of positive accountability and trust. The fact that we commonly call a learning experience a fail insinuates that someone needs to take accountability or be punished for the mistake. This punitive understanding of accountability does not foster a culture of innovation or learning. It fosters the opposite, more finger-pointing and blame games. Positive accountability encourages risk-taking and says it's okay when we make mistakes if we own them, learn from them, and build better systems as a result." Everybody makes mistakes, which means that everybody gets the chance to learn and grow. Innovation and trust thrive in an environment where shame and blame have no stronghold. A culture that supports failing fast and encourages employees to take ownership over mistakes reaps the benefits of better solutions, increased engagement over the results, and unprecedented business results. I really like this article, and the link to it will be in the episode description. So to summarize my advice, I would suggest making sure that before you sit down with an underperforming employee, reflect on whether you have supported them the way they needed and if you have done everything in your power to help them achieve greatness. Even if the answer is yes to both of these things, start the conversation by owning their failure and allow them to provide any insight as to what else can be done to support them. I remember very specifically as a new supervisor in my first role where I had a situation and the overall department look and feel from a merchandising standpoint and a cleanliness standpoint was clearly below expectations. We had these checklists that we would use every single day throughout the week to make sure that every part of the department was clean, had been touched, and had been reviewed to make sure that we had good visual standards. Well, the reality was we had gotten busy, it was during some holiday stuff, and there were things that had happened that caused us to not be so committed to making sure that the department looked good. And I'll never forget, at the time, my sales leader coming around the store, pulling me aside when he saw the department and said, "Hey, you know what? I need to own this." And I said, "You need to own what?" He said, "I need to own the fact that this department is not up to the typical standards that we talk about and that we expect." And I said, "Well, why would you own it? You're not the one responsible for it." He goes, "I know, but as your direct leader, it's clear that maybe I have not been clear with my expectations, nor have I followed up, nor have I been paying attention as we've gotten down this path where the department is in the kind of shambles and dirty." And he goes, "I own that, and I want to make sure that going forward, I don't make that same mistake. So what would you need from me to make sure that we don't have this issue in the future?" And I said, "Well, honestly, not a whole lot. Just this conversation alone, has really brought to my attention that we need to be much more committed to the consistency in which we take care of our department. So as a supervisor, I'll take care of that. You know what? But maybe once a week, swing on by. Just check in on things. Maybe double check my worksheets, make sure that we're staying on top of all the cleanliness and the expectations of our department. And that'll be helpful just to make sure that if we get distracted with other things, we don't go too long before somebody else is checking in." And he said, "You got it. That's not a problem. I'll make a note of it. And maybe every Wednesday I'll swing by and just double check some of the cleanliness and make sure that we're on the right path." And I thought that was great, and I remember that very specifically. And after having the dialogue that I had with this leader and reading this article, it made me reflect on that time and remember how valuable that was, that the way he approached it really allowed me to understand what real leadership support looks like, and it allowed me to own the fact that I didn't execute on something that I need to get better at. So with that, have a great day, and we'll talk to you all next week.